Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Author Sherry Show. My name is Author Sherry. I work as a renowned public speaking coach and TEDx speaker coach in India, and I'm on a mission to create 1 million public speakers in India by 2030. And that's the reason I've created a platform for all the established and aspiring orators of India, MS Talks India. Folks, today we have a very special guest, and she's already live with us on the screen. She's a dental surgeon with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, pageant queen. She has become Mrs. India Worldwide 2014, Mrs. Heritage World 2015, Craftsvilla Miss Ethnic 2015, Femina Officially Gorgeous 2016, and she is one of the pioneer video blogger on psycho-spiritual self-growth of Indian women, a founder of her own enterprise, Queen in the Making, a TEDx speaker, and she is doing some fabulous work. And most of you already know her. She is a big social media influencer. Without any wastage of time, let me invite and welcome our special guest on Author Sherry Show, Dr. Shivangi Malatia. Dr. Shivangi, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to
Thank
have
you.
you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. It's an honor to be here and talking to you, talking to such an enigmatic personality like you. And let me start with congratulating you on building up such a fabulous empire of yours, an empire in which everybody seems to be a king of his own. And you are also somewhere, letting people discover their inside, the potential, unleashing their potential. So I'm so very proud of you. We all are so proud of you. Thank you for having me here, Sherry.
Thanks a ton for your kind words. God has been kind, Shivangi. So let's kick off. I would like to listen to your favorite song. The first two lines, maybe if you can sing for all of us listening to you right.
I always keep on humming this song, especially in my difficult times. आने वाला पल जाने वाला है आने वाला पल जाने वाला है हो सके तो इसमें
इसमें जिंदगी
जिंदगी बिता दे पल जो ये जाने वाला है हाँ. So I really love this song, and please excuse my bad singing. But then
Oh,
I always
you've
hum
got
it.
fabulous voice.
Thank you. I hum it always, especially during my hardships.
Yeah.
And I always keep on telling myself that this is the moment and this moment wants to tell me something. So let me hear it properly without, letting my thoughts and hustle bustle come in between. So that's
Superb.
it for you. Yeah.
Superb. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, what's your favorite quote?
Quote.
Yeah.
Actually, the quotes keep on changing from time to time, but
Yeah.
then there is this one dialogue that I heard somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, I repeat this dialogue like a affirmation always. गर जन्नत कहीं है, गर जन्नत कहीं है, तो बस यही है, यही है, यही है.
Wow.
So
Wow.
whenever I am traveling in my past or, restlessly running into my future, I always keep on telling myself, "Gar jannat kahin hai, to bas yahi hai, abhi hai." So this is my
Shine,
favorite quote. You can say that.
yeah,
And
shine like a lotus.
yes.
Super.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great, Shivangi. So let me start with the questions which we would like to ask you. Tell us something
Yeah.
about your exciting journey from the days of your school to now the Shivangi Malatia, who's now a social media influencer, a medical expert, a pageant queen
Right.
with beauty in the
Right.
genes. So tell us something about this.
Um, Sherry, the thing is, like any other girl, I also had my own share of insecurities, complexes, and being the tallest one in the class, I was always not looked upon, but I was always looked down upon because not many people could stand up the stature, the kind of vibes that I used to exude. because they always felt intimidated by my presence. That's what I can realize now after looking back at my journey. I can realize it. And such people usually make you feel very downtrodden in yourself. They make sure that you don't get to realize what they are actually feeling intimidated about. So I had my share of insecurities and fearfulness, and my kind of inferiority complex that I had always suffered during my childhood days,
Yeah.
because I was taller than the rest. So I am 5'10", by the way. So I was always taller
Okay.
than the rest. So people used to make me realize that I am not normal, that I am not belonging to the normal genre.
Yeah.
And I was very tomboyish, and I was very self-cultivating in the fact that whatever I used to get involved, I used to get involved completely, 100%. I wanted to understand and learn to the depths of the thing. So that also somehow segregated me from the rest, and it made them feel uncomfortable in my presence. So again, these were a few points, but all in all, I had a very spiritually laden or a spiritually engrossed family, rooted family. So my father used to tell me that there are two perspectives of a person. One is the perspective which is forced upon us by the society, by our
True.
peers, by the so-called friends, the teachers, the parents also, including himself.
Yeah.
And one perspective is which we build of our own. So he said that, through very small exercises, I still remember, I must have been just 10 years or 11 years old. And he used to tell me to sit silently. 10-year child, we have such restless minds and such wavering minds all the time. So
Yeah.
then also he used to teach me to sit silently and focus here on the focal center of the forehead. And he used to tell me that see as you want to see yourself to be. Don't see yourself as you see yourself in the mirror or in another person's eyes. Don't see yourself like that,
Wow.
because they are only reflections that you're seeing. See yourself as original yourself you want to be here, inside of you. So
Inspiring.
that suddenly used to, transverse me somewhere outside of me, yet inside of me, and somewhere away from that nomenclature the world was trying to fix me into.
Yeah.
On the other hand, my mother, being a botanist and a person who was very, very close to nature, she used to pick up a leaf every now and then, tell us the botanical name. And then, starting from the physicality of the leaf, she would go deep down into how a leaf functions, how a plant is as much living an organism as we all are. And they must be feeling the pain that we all feel in our day to day lives, yet they are so much into their existence. They are so much flourishing and growing and blossoming every now and then.
Yeah.
In spite of the hardships that they must be facing as living organisms like we do. And yet they have nothing to complain about. And there's so much to learn from them. So, likewise, the growth was happening on a holistic level for me. I consider myself to be blessed in that manner. So, this is all about my childhood, Sherry. And once I grew up, I had my own share of unconscious living. I was growing and living as unconsciously as 95% of us are right now.
Yeah.
So, much involved in my own glamour and glare and my
Yeah.
successful attitudes, like, getting a good job, clearing UPSC, having a good financial backbone, falling in love with the person of my life, someone whom I always wanted to, eh, involve in involve with in my life, because I always wanted a feministic man, somebody who can understand my dreams more than myself. So I got somebody like that, Dr.
Super.
Kuldeep, my husband. He's a fabulous man. I wanted a family whom I can call mine, even after my marriage, and to grow closer to. I got a mother-in-law who's a fabulous human being. And she's somebody who always used to push me hard into my dreams, in spite of letting her know that, no, I'm not ready maybe to enter my dream right now. No, you need to enter it right now. So I got a family which was beautiful in all ways, in all aspects. My life was just perfect, Sherry. And yet, I suffered something called as panic attacks. There was a lot of aggression inside, which used to come out in a very unwanted, unseen pattern, an outburst. And in that outburst, I used to hurt people, I used to hurt myself, I used to create a havoc around. And in one of the panic attacks, I even hurt my 21 days old child. So it was a neonate, it was a newborn, and I hurt him. Being his mother, it was the most devastating time of my life, because a mother hurting a child as young as that is something which we call it a failure. It's a lifetime failure. Nothing can be as big a failure as that. So those were the few moments when I was actually forced, I was pushed by nature, by the universe to, sit back and think again, and to practice again what my father had taught me somewhere down the lane in my childhood. That is to look at myself, who I was. Why is this all happening? People say people have a tendency to actually, convey the entire uh, holds and, the nicks and holds of the situations to the outside world. That, my husband is responsible, my in-laws are responsible, my breaking job is responsible, my breaking financial backbone is responsible to create this. For me, nothing was there. There was no reason. Then who was responsible? Life made it quite easy for me to understand that there wasn't any external reason there. So of course, the reason is internal. Always the reason is internal.
Yeah.
We are foolish enough to consider the reasons to be external. And then I was forced by my own life to actually seek an inside growth. And the first step was to open up my bag of dreams and to start living my dreams, so that at least I start exploring life. It's a way of exploring yourself into life. So pageantry was a part of it. And in spite being a married woman, a mother, somebody who was weighing 95 kgs back then. So it was a challenge for me. And I needed to first work on myself, on my body, on my mind completely, and enter into a very challenging field where everybody's sitting to just judge you. Everybody's so much there to judge you. That, are you a contender actually to enter into pageantry while being 95 kgs, when I announced to my family, to my friends, to my parents, for that matter, that I want to be a pageant queen because it's my passion and I want to start redirecting my life and start ignoring the panic attacks aspect completely. So their first question was, are you even ready? Like, do you feel that, you stand somewhere there? So people are there to judge you. And once, I think it's all in the mind. Once you create your mind, once you think that, yes, you need to do something, you should just forge ahead. Forge ahead with your complete bag of hard work, willpower, determination, positivity, and some bit of spirituality. So that bit of spirituality, it takes over the entire thing, just like a bouquet wrap, wrapping up the flowers together. So, something like that happened. And I went out there. More than anyone else, I was proving it to myself that, yes, if I can accept a challenge as big as this, if I can be there, so let me just be there on the ramp called life. Let me now start walking the ramp called life with that confidence, with that beauty. And let me start exploring that inside out beauty now. Not only for myself, but for others as well. Because I somehow felt a connect, Cheryl. Like, a connect was so strong that I could see myself in every other woman that I was passing through or I was meeting.
Yeah.
Or even when I don't know her, I don't know her by face, but I know that deep inside it's me who's reflecting back at myself. So, that kind of connection started happening, and suddenly pageantry seemed to be a step ladder, and I finally got to see what I was made to actually
Wow.
do, and the purpose of whatever you want to call it, a purpose, or you want to call it a journey, you want to call it a vision. I don't know, we can give different names to it. So this is it. This is how I see my life in a small go.
This is definitely so inspiring about you. I mean, the way you have amalgamated all the instances of your life is simply amazing.
Right.
And I love the way
Thank you.
you use your authenticity in your talk, because that's
Yeah.
the one skill which I teach to people, that if you really want to be an outstanding speaker, you got to be authentic. And I can sense that you're
Yes.
so authentic in your approach. You spoke about your family, your in-laws, your husband Kuldeep, and you share about
Right.
your journey, your panic attacks. I mean, you're so authentic. You're
Yes.
so open to talk about your weaknesses. This is something
Uh,
which is missing in the society.
yes, Sherry, I feel that again, vulnerability is one point
Yeah,
that we all lack in, because
true.
we feel scared that what will the other person think about.
Yeah,
And once you have seen it all, like I feel, there is a lot to see still, but whatever I have seen and experienced now, I feel it barely matters to be naked in front of the other person. I mean, naked as in whatever you are inside, you should have those guts, and you should have that kind of an access to your inside being, that you can just clearly take it out and portray in front of the other person that this is what I am, this is who I am. And if you're not ready to show it, that means there is yet something to be changed inside yourself. There
true.
is, if you're not able to see yourself that clearly in
Yeah.
front of others, that means there is something you want to hide still, and that something needs to be curated well by you first. So this is good enough an indication, I feel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said and summed up again. So, Shivangi, what inspired you actually to get into this pageant business? Like you started Queen in the Making, and what does it
Right.
aim to achieve?
Okay. Pageantry, as I said, it was my passion, and
Yeah,
something which helped me to divert my life from panic attacks into a different, more constructive direction,
yeah,
a more self-explorative direction. So that was my reason to enter into pageantry. And once I entered into pageantry, that entering was so much crucial, and it was so much quintessential. I understood it after a few years of my entering into pageantry, because it gave me a clear cut picture of how the society is actually taking up the parameters, or how the society is defining something which we call beauty, or let's say even enclose it into Indian beauty. You know, the
yeah,
women are whole soul, on a whole soul basis, the women are being judged upon and ranked upon two major criteria. That's what that was my perspective. That was my kind of inference after going through all these pageants.
yeah,
How well do you portray yourself socially? That is, how about your looks, the way you carry yourself, how well you are in line with the latest fashion trends. Um, how well do you speak in English, for that
yeah,
matter? It's a very big criteria in India. How um, how well are you giving your whole soul picture of a modern yet very culturally embedded woman, socially? So that is
yeah,
one criteria.
yeah,
And the second criteria is, how good are you at your relationships? I mean, how well are you taking care of your household, your husband, your kids? How advanced and successful are they in their lives? That would actually tell the society that how successful you are as a woman. As if you don't have any other role individuality other than being a mother, a wife, a, a bahu, and various other daughter, various other relationships that we cater ourselves into. So these are the two major criteria that the society is looking at women right now in India. At least I feel in India. The other
all right.
countries, I haven't had a experience as yet. So this was very, very disturbing for me, because once I got that beauty queen badge, the crown was there on my head. Everybody used to just easily, place me as a gold standard. That, okay, somebody who's as tall as her, somebody who's has a complexion as good as hers, or say facial features or whatever. And people, even if women were much more beautiful, you know, we use the term beautiful, even if they were much more beautiful than I was at that particular moment, they would just, look at me like this in a kash hum bhi, So that was something which used to hit me. And second thing was, when I used to come back home and get into the role of my panic attacks again because of a small tiff here and there, a small unstructured quarrel or a fight between me and my husband, small uh, unreasoned episode of undergoing a bad mood trial sometime, and then getting back into that panic attack while, was something which was even more disturbing. That what kind of a beauty queen am I tagged as, when my entire beauty is so hollow and so shallow? I don't know my inner strengths. I don't know how to restructure and reevaluate my life according to myself. Then what kind of beauty are we talking about here? When I used to look at my mother-in-law or my mother for that instant, I used to find them much bigger as beauty queens compared to myself, because they were such poised and balanced women. They knew what they were going with their lives, like where they were going ahead with their lives, right?
Yeah.
So, and that is the kind of deficiency I felt in each and every in each and every woman that I was passing through, of my era, of my age group, of my, the kind of setup that I live in. So I was clearly able to see those deficiencies in women. So that was the motive of beginning first a self-explorative journey inside myself, that what are the things which are lacking, and what is the real term, real meaning, the real definition behind the word beauty? How should I encompass the beauty of women, be it an acid attack fighter, be it somebody who is very willfully facing home violence? There are women who are willfully facing home violence
Yeah.
happily. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to understand,
Yeah.
because we have tagged them again. They are home violence victims, but they don't want to call themselves victims. Now that we have such a huge group and a huge family of women, I understand that there are all types of them. We are all kinds, and we willfully accept our kind. So the beauty is a very, very broad term, and it should encompass each and every woman inside it. So that is the major criteria that I began with this initiative called Queen in the Making. As per
Amazing.
I began to understand this terminology and to elaborate it in my own life, I started giving techniques and procedures and small how to do's to attain that kind of motivation and that kind of understanding about your own life's beauty to the women around. So this is how Queen in the Making started.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely inspiring, and close to your initiative. And the way you have
Thank you.
explained each and every step, I think all the people out there who are listening to this podcast will get a lot of inspiration today from each and every
Thank
word
you.
you're
Thank you
telling.
so much. Yeah.
So, Shivangi, you have mentioned about panic attacks. Now,
Yeah.
most of the people actually are not even aware that this is happening to them. And,
Right.
I had been one of them. I had faced
Okay.
panic attacks too. I had
Yeah.
been through the phase of severe depression for 6 months. I remember that.
Oh my
And
God.
actually,
Oh,
from that phase, I bounced back. And I understand
right.
that, as you said, understanding your true self. So,
Right.
how did you actually came out of this state of mind of panic attacks? Because I know in this kind of situation, a lot of illusions get created by our own mind.
Right.
As they say,
Yes.
our brain has its own mind. How did you
Yes.
came out
Yes.
of this? I think this will really help all the viewers to get some support. Yeah.
Right. I'll begin with the Z of A to Z first, and then come back to A in
Yeah.
this matter, Sherry.
Sure.
There is no way that we can rebuild our mind system. There is no way. The mind is something which is a continuous process. I'd like to call it minding rather than the mind. It's not a thing. It's a continuous process. And the process, what kind of a process? That whatever it is seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, feeling, perspecting about everything around us, it is continuously storing and formulating. Storing and formulating. So it's a continuous process called minding. And to get groped into this minding process in order to take care of your life is something which I find foolish. So the Z of it all is that you need to surpass this minding stage and grow beyond it. That's the only way to refine our life. You have to start looking beyond mind. That's the only way. Now I'll come back to A. How to do that? How to surpass our own minds?
Yeah.
This I realized that somewhere in our physicality is the key to surpass the minding system in our physicality. So the physicality would include our entire lifestyles. That is, the moment we wake up to the moment we are going back into sleep. These are the few hours that we have in our hand, wherein we can actually restructure the entire system of our growth, of our lifestyle, of our living as a whole. So, to begin with, how we are getting up in the morning. What is the time that we are devoting to ourselves? Amongst the 24 hours, how much time are we devoting to our own growth, which is actually the matter of concern, should be the matter of concern.
Yeah.
How trivial are we considering the actually trivial and petty issues of our life? How much knowledge or how much hold do we have on those trivial issues? How much time are we devoting to the things that shouldn't be devoted time at all? What is the time lapse that we are giving to the things which actually don't require any time? They don't actually deserve any time or any attention of ours. How much time of our life are we actually devoting to those things? And then, what kind of treatment are we giving to ourselves on a minute to minute, on a second to second basis is actually something which will determine how we are restructuring or how we are designing and creating the life in front of us. It needs to be understood that we are the only creators. There is no creator anywhere up in the sky. We are the only creators. How we are perceiving, see, how I am perceiving my world right now, Sherry, is so different from how you are perceiving your world right now.
True.
You must be having 110 different things in your mind. I am having, say, 110 different things in my mind right now. So whatever we have right now with us and whatever we aim or focus upon is actually building up our worlds differently individually.
Yeah.
So however many people are watching this show right now are having those many worlds are there existing right now in this space. No world is matching the other world. Absolutely not at all. So it's our own timeline. It's our own focus, the game of focus. It's our own game of dhyan, where our dhyan or where our consciousness, where our focus lies is actually something which is designing our world. It's as simple as that. So when a person is asked where you are, who are you, I'll always say if you are focused upon right now, say on a beautiful table, you are actually that beautiful table right now. You're not this human body. Yeah. If you're focusing upon a beautiful vast sky, then actually you are that vast sky right now. If you're focusing upon a huge mountain, so you are actually that huge mountain. And if you are focusing upon a very trivial, small, stupid, inconsistent, temporary issue of your life, you're as trivial, as pathetic, and as temporary a issue right now in yourself. So it's all about the game of focus. It's all about the game of where your attention is right now.
Absolutely amazing. So where the focus goes, energy flows.
Yes.
That's what they say
Absolutely.
in the nutshell.
Yes.
Simply amazing. I love your answers and the way you express and the way you connect it across.
Thank you.
I really appreciate and admire the effectiveness you use in your communication. So,
Thank you. Very kind, Shelly.
Shivangi, finally, as a dental surgeon and
Yeah.
multiple beauty pageant winner now, you are a shining example that beauty and brains are not mutually exclusive. So, how
Yes.
women out there pave their own unique paths?
Um, See, you have actually answered the question in your own question that
Okay.
every woman is actually a beauty with brain.
Yeah.
See, why beauty is so much synonymous with womanhood? Have you ever given a thought over it? Like, when we see a man, we never call him like beautiful man. No, we never say him. Sorry to say, but we
Yeah.
can't call a man beautiful, But whenever we see a woman decked up in a nice, beautiful sari and exuding a kind of confidence and grace, a nice smell coming out of her. And we call her beautiful, just beautiful. And sometimes even a woman in her normal clothes sitting at the side of the room with her sewing machine and, all latpat in her pasina and fatigued up, even then, there's some kind of quotient of beauty in her because womanhood is actually beautiful as a whole. Nature is beautiful, and we can actually say that nature is equal to woman because nature is also all creative. It is the nurturer, it is the creator, and similar with women, I feel we are the nurturers, we are the creators, we are the whole soul managers of this ecosystem,
Yeah.
with the support of men by our side. But in terms of beautiful, yes, we are beautiful. Now, every woman needs to understand that the term that we are using worldwide, that beauty inside out, we actually need to start living in this terminology. We need to tell ourselves that whatever, whoever I am, you know, beauty is something which is without any efforts, it's related to me, or it's inside me, it's embedded in me.
Yeah.
Now, when I hear that people are trying to empower women, many speakers have risen this point, and I would again like to raise this point that
Sure.
we are already empowered beings.
Yeah.
But the only thing lacking is that we have forgotten that we are empowered beings. Most of the women, including myself, if I look at the Shivangi a few years ago, I had somewhere down the lane forgotten the real meaning of empowerment. Today, if we look at the society, empowering means a person who is able to take up a career of her choice, a person who's able to speak English well and fluent, a person who's able to wear the clothes of her choice, a person who's able to contest at each and every level of life just like a man, a
Yeah.
person who's allowed to show her aggression like a man, a person who's able to go out and fetch bread and butter like a man, a person who's able to earn as much money as a man, a person who's able to get relief from household work like a man, like a man, like a man, like a man. You know, empowerment to us is somewhere getting synonymous to be like a man. It is so foolish. It is so stupid of us, women, to think that way. Our femininity is actually our strength. You know what Nelson Mandela once said? He said that for a leader to grow, actually, for a person or for a man to grow like a leader, I'm not quoting his exact words, but then his words had such a huge impact on me that I took it as it is, that he said that for a man to grow as a leader, he first has to allow the woman inside him to grow.
Wow.
What else do you want to hear? Oh, woman, what else do you want to hear? You're already a woman. Please allow yourself to grow as a woman. Womanhood means, it is synonymous with beauty, it is synonymous with kindness, it is synonymous with softness, it is synonymous with being yourself, being rooted in yourself. I mean, you are soft, you're polite, you're kind. This is not your weakness at all. It is your strength. Being compassionate is our strength. And what do you require to be a leader? Okay, you want to be a fierceful leader. Fine, Shakti is fierceful as well. But then to lay down that Shakti, to lay down that urja, that content of wisdom mixed with aggression in a constructive way is only in the hands of a woman. If I look at you, Sherry, with due respect,
Yeah.
you are a man. You are a man, undoubtedly. But then the way you talk, the way you convey your thoughts, the way you link with another person. In the beginning of the interview, it might not be recorded here, but I told you that the warmth on your face is making me feel comfortable, right? The
Yeah.
warmth that you're exuding with your body language is making me feel comfortable. How do you see these traits as? It is the femininity in you. How do you feel that you're allowing a woman to talk this much on your platform related to womanhood, telling the world that womanhood has its own existence?
Yeah.
What part of you is letting you do that? Your femininity is letting you do that. What part of you is letting you lead a group as big as this? I feel that your femininity has to be contributed a lot, has contributed a lot to this. So for any man, for that matter, in my husband, I see a lot of feminism in him. The way he understands my workload, the way he is there with me all the time, hands in hands. The way he understands that if I'm going out and earning, he has his share of keeping himself back at home and working at home as well, you know. So this is the kind of feminism that needs to be grown in humanity as a whole. The feministic energy has been uh, pulled down, pushed down. It has been really, it has been taken aback as something which is weaker, something which is of no use, something which is just restricted to the intuitive powers of the mind, just like an oracle or something. But then femininity has actually led to the existence of us all. So I want women to realize it. I want them to realize their real essence and not to change because the world is leading onto something which we called a patriarchal mode of living. Don't change yourself because let time take its own tide according to you. That's what I want to tell the women. It's tough to be in your own shoes and to regain and hold on to something which we are originally. It's very, very tough because the temporary circumstances, they actually tell us to change it instantaneously and to adopt a new behavior instantaneously, which is not us. But then it's okay, just for a timely peace of mind or just for a temporary comfort. Don't lose who you are originally. So be who you are, be in your own shoes, and feel comfortable and proud of what you are. If you are proud of wearing a sari or a simple suit, I mean, if you're comfortable in that, be proud of it. If you are comfortable talking in Bhojpuri or Hindi rather than English all the time, be proud of it. If you are happy taking care of kids on the backhand of the family, of saving rather than earning, be proud of it.
Yeah.
Seek yourself as somebody who is actually the nurturer more than the earner, right? If you're more comfortable in washing the utensils and taking care of the household, decorating the household, be proud of it. Don't take it as somebody who's talentless. It's a talent. It's actually a talent.
Yeah.
It's actually a blessing. So feel it that way and look at yourself here. How you want to look at yourself. Just look here. Don't look in the outside world. No need to peep into other people's eyes and minds to understand who you are. You need to just peep inside yourself to understand who you are. That's what I want to tell to the women. And I'm very, very emotional about it.
Wow, and I can sense every bit of it right now. It is so inspiring the way you have expressed a key message to all the women out there. I love the way you have actually explained the word feminist. I think nobody spoke to me like this earlier ever. I've met a lot of stalwarts and achievers in the society. But nobody has
Yeah.
given such a lucid explanation of these words and actually the real meaning connected to our real lives. Fabulous, Dr.
Yeah.
Shivangi. I'm really impressed.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I'm so happy that you understood it. So if you can understand, I
Yeah,
think the people will be able to understand what I want to convey.
of
Yeah,
course,
thank
of
you.
course. I'm just enjoying every bit of this interview. It's very, very inspiring
Thank
indeed,
you.
the way you have actually seen your journey from where you were and now you're achieving glory in your life. So from nowhere to somewhere and from somewhere to everywhere. That's what I say. Call inspiration
Yeah,
from anywhere.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you
So
so
great.
much.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Shivangi. What will be your key message for MS Talks community? A quick one. And then if anyone is interested, he or she can drop their comments.
Yes, they can drop their messages,
Yeah,
their doubts, or whatever questions they have. You people are most welcome to do that. I'll be honored to answer each and every one of you.
that's so kind
And
of you.
yes, for the MS Talks, the entire fraternity, the entire community, I'll say that please be yourself. Don't fear to exhibit your true self in front of the society. And as Sherry also would agree, I feel that an effective speaker is the one who uses a simple and an understandable language more than a flowery vocabulary. So don't just hide your original thoughts behind searching a flowery, ununderstandable vocabulary. Please be simple and please be straightforward in your conduct while you speak, and do have eye contacts when you talk to people, because when we talk, our eyes and our hands do much more of talking than what our, the voice is doing. So yes, all the best, and please, of course, all the doubts are invited, all questions are invited. Thank you so much for having me here, Sherry. It was just lovely, because you gave me so much of space. Again, to be a good speaker, one should be a good listener as well. So you gave me so much of space that I could express myself absolutely completely. So thank you
Absolutely
so much.
brilliant. Such a pleasure to having you here. And it's been wonderful listening to each and everything we have explained about your journey, about the way you have transformed, about your organization, about the way you are nurturing your own life and inspiring others. Thank you very much for taking out the time, Dr.
Thank you.
Shivangi. It's a pleasure
Thank
talking to
you.
you. And to all the
Thank you.
viewers out there, if you have any questions, if you have any queries, don't forget to drop your comment. And as Dr. Shivangi has promised, she'll be answering all your comments and doubts and queries. So thank you very much for joining in for this interview. This interview was
Thank you.
broadcasted by MS Talks India. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.